Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to Blitzburgh Squad. I'm Wesley Seeley, joined alongside Shane Smith. Thanks for joining us as we recap this Steelers and Lions game tie. 16-16 was the final score, final regulation, and overtime. 16-16. Shane, what's your thoughts, man?
Lions, you can have the win.
At this point, we'll just give it to you. I mean,
I don't want the tie. Didn't even help us in our freaking division.
I know. Trying to make things interesting.
You know, the Browns lost, though, and the Ravens lost.
Yeah, and so did we, basically.
Yeah.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It
feels like a loss.
We're lucky to come out with a tie the way we played.
No kidding. Yeah. Lions come into Heinz Field, winless 0-8 Lions, and somehow we couldn't squeak out a victory. We had to squeak out a tie, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's dive into the offense. I still know nothing about the Lions after watching them, by the way. So.
I'd love to dive into our offense.
Yeah. The up and down freaking roller coaster.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sum up this day for the offense because there were some parts where, looked decent enough, and probably more often than not, it didn't look decent enough. And
yeah,
there were some throws by Mason that weren't that great, and there were some throws that he made that I was like, okay, Mason, let's go. Let's get it rolling.
Yes. Very much a game managing type quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think we know at this point he's not our franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
We just need him to do enough, and there's a couple of mistakes he made, but the offense as a whole made a lot of mistakes, which didn't help him. And as we listened to a guy not too long ago, he was kind of truthful. Mason may have goofed it up in the beginning, but when it really counted in the fourth quarter and overtime, it was everybody but Mason that made the mistakes.
Yeah, he was able to drive a couple times for us and everything.
Yeah, and then fumbles apparently we were just playing some backyard football, and it was something.
It was a ugly game, and Najee ran the ball really well. I mean, 26 carries for 105, 4-yard average. I mean, pretty solid. Had a touchdown that was called back, unfortunately, to a holding call that was iffy, maybe.
Our line played horrible.
Yeah, they I don't know.
They played better once we lost Trey Turner and Dotson.
Dotson, yeah.
Which I don't think Dotson was the problem. I would say more Trey Turner, which is sad because he's the vet. But J.C. Hassenauer actually looked good at guard.
Yeah, he filled in well.
I don't know who the other guard was. In all honesty, when Trey Turner went out, I don't know who.
Good question, yeah.
Maybe
it was Haig. Did he come in?
Maybe. Because Banner was active, but I didn't see him on the field.
I didn't either. I didn't see him once.
Which, at this point, with how bad they were playing, you might as well have thrown him in there. I mean, couldn't have done any worse.
Uh-huh.
Put him in at center for crying out loud. He could probably at least throw the ball back there.
Yeah. Speaking of center, I mean, we had Kendrick Green was snapping the ball high all game, and then it was finally overtime. He snaps it like 10 feet over Mason's head. It's
yeah.
What in the world was that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I knew we were both texting during the game. It's just like Kendrick is snapping high, and then Mason's a tall dude, and he was able to snatch some of those and like jump up and grab. But that one was way over his head.
Oh, that was literally first play. Wild card game, Steelers versus Browns.
Oh, bad flashbacks.
Marquise Pouncey doing the same thing in the same number.
Same number uniform, yep. Oh, yeah, that's bad. And thankfully Najee was able to get on top of it, though, because that would have basically ended it right there. Yeah, this was a bad performance overall. I mean, Pat Freiermuth, man, he had the
rookie mistake.
A rookie mistake. Final drive for us, basically. No timeouts left. We were driving down the field, looking like a pretty decent drive. Basically, with his catch that ensued on the fumble, would have been in field goal range technically for Boz.
Right. I think Boz.
What would it have been at that point? Do you know?
I think it was either a 56 or 57.
It would have been a long field goal.
It would have been a long one at Heinz Field.
Uh-huh.
But he's made the 56 this year at Heinz already, so it's not one that I was super concerned about him making, but. No, Boss should have diagonally tried to cut out, and it was almost like he wanted to knock out the guy and then get out of bounds. And it's like,
because I think we figured there was 8 seconds on the clock when Lions had the ball back, and that's like when they or after the recovery, there was 8 seconds left on the clock, and we were both discussing like, I don't even know if he would have trucked that guy or whatever, if he wouldn't have fumbled, if we would have had enough time to maybe get up and spike it. Like at that point, it was just a bad decision overall for Pat, and can't really fault him. The dude's been great so far. He is a rookie, and this is just some growing pains maybe.
Right. Rookie mistake, something that he needs to learn on.
Yeah.
For sure.
The other thing I'll give him a little slack on too, the weather conditions were trash. I mean, it was basically raining the whole
day.
So I'm sure the field wasn't great. The ball was slippery and wet.
They said they'd already had to repatch the field.
Yeah, I heard him saying that
a few different times. So, which our field's always bad. Like not injury wise, although today that would be questionable. But typically, I think back to the Dolphins-Steelers game that was like 6-3 or whatever. I can't even remember when it was, but I mean, the field is just always horrible, especially in the rain.
Stuck.
And
yeah, I remember that.
It was just, it's just horrible. And so it's definitely a tough field to play on sometimes during those conditions.
Conditions can get rough, yep.
I mean, unfortunately, we practice on it all the time. We should know how to go about it. And just a rookie pain, and then Johnson.
I was going to say, Johnson's catch. What was it, the drive before that?
Yeah, drive before that,
There's
36-yard catch, and he fumbled it because he was trying to make too much out of it when we had plenty of time. All he had to do was cover it, go down. We, essentially could have tried to run it with Najee or whoever, get in field goal range, kick it, in the game. So it was one where we almost looked like we were trying our hardest to lose.
Yeah, I would agree. You got a
I'm not doing it.
LVP.
I was like, I'm not doing an MVP. It's back to least valuable because there's nothing most valuable about a tie.
It's not a win. It's not a loss, but we can pick and choose what we want at this point. Then, so let's go LVPs because I don't think we're crazy about anybody for MVP.
Yeah, no, not at all. Man, it's hard to pick just one person with so many mistakes that happen. I'm going to go Kendrick Green just because of his high snaps the entire game. He apparently wasn't working on him well enough to get it lowered down to where, like we said beforehand, Mason was having trouble even snatching him and bobbling him, which that takes time on certain plays. So if there's a timing route or something like that, that play is essentially cut out of the equation because you're high snapping it, and then you almost put the dagger in the coffin right there. So Kendrick Green needs to start playing with some of those wet balls, dunk them in water or whatever, because winter's coming and it's going to be like that a lot. And start practice snapping over and over and over again in that shotgun formation to get those balls down. If he does that to Ben.
And think if it would have been an empty set. Najee wouldn't have been back. I mean, Mason may have dove on it, but there's a possibility he misses it, flip-flops, and there it goes,
Right.
Yeah, so we're a little lucky on that one. This one's tough for me. Pains me to say it, but I'd have to go, I think, Pat. Like, I don't want to do it because I love the guy, and I think it's just one of those things where, like, he just had a bad game. Like, he had a drop earlier. He had the big fumble, which that just, to me, it wasn't even like he was trying to make a play down the middle of the field. There was 3 minutes left, whatever. He was able to stay in bounds, and he got hit and fumbled. Like, even that would be a little bit more forgivable. I think it was just the decision to not go out of bounds. You know what I mean? It was more so that, not even more so the fumble.
Right.
Just because, like we said, with the time remaining at that point in time. So the other one I was thinking about was Dan Moore, just because he's the one that had the holding call, which it was a little iffy, but it's still like Najee bounced to the outside on his side, and he should have just let go at that point. When the guy was starting to release, just let him go. Don't try to grab his jersey, because at that point Najee was already clearing the edge and everything. It was uncalled for, and that brought back 7 points too right there. It was a good run by Najee, and unfortunately we had to settle for 3 at that point. So
yeah. I mean, Najee played his heart out, and Mason made some mistakes, but overall adequate job on about 12 hours of notice. So
yeah, no kidding. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Again, I know nothing about their defense. I'm not even going to talk about anybody on there. They had some injuries as well. As we said, we lost Dotson. We don't know the significance of that injury. We lost Turner. We don't know the significance of that. Hopefully we can get Chase back. Ben was out.
Right.
I think that was it on offense.
Right.
4 people down.
Yeah,
big
and then
deal.
defense.
Defense, moving right over into the defense. TJ,
Hayden.
Joe.
Who else went out? Was that it? I know Minka got banged up on a play,
Yeah,
but
it was
he came back
one
in.
play right after.
There was a lot of like big names and a lot of people going down and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was rough.
It was. Speaking of the defense, I guess we can just dive right into them and sum up what we thought of their performance.
Great pass defense today, guys. 114 yards Goff was able to have.
That's a shutdown defense,
and with
baby.
the sacks, it was only a net of 75.
Let's
Great
go.
job on pass. Now, if we're talking running, woohoo, that was bad.
I think they just cloned themselves, and they're actually just some high schoolers out there.
It was like, what, 200 yards in the third quarter?
Yeah. I think it was 199 at half or something. Whenever I texted you, it was like 199. I was like, oh, my. It's too early to let 200 yards rushing.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I mean, that's not a good at all, even if it was throughout the whole game. But still, at half, you cannot allow the 199.
And here's the issue. Like, yeah, Goff ended up throwing it 25 times, which is impressive. Goff had a hip injury and a back injury that was limiting, like, how far he could throw it, what his mobility was. Like, he couldn't do, like, any, peel outs or anything like that onto it. It was literally, our goal in this was to stop the Lions' run, to force it into Goff's hands, to then let our pass rush just eat him alive. And we couldn't even cover step one. It was like, we were like, he's going to pass it. He's going to pass. Like, I love Cam, and he had a great game. But there was one time, and it was a big run for Swift. I think it was Swift. I don't know. All 3 of the running backs played great, and they lost 2 of those running backs. Like, ridiculous. But it was a straight handoff to Swift, and Hayward came in unblocked and then started going right after Goff.
Oh,
almost like he thought it was going to be a play action. It's like, we're almost into the third quarter, or we were into the third quarter. You know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, don't act like you don't. And so, I mean, it was horrible, because at one point, I mean, we rebounded in the second half for sure, but at one point, Swift was averaging 5.8 yards a carry.
To it, please come back. Please come back.
Yeah, if this is ever a thing for us to say that we need to it, we need to it.
Man, the run defense needs something. It's looked pretty shoddy this whole season, really. Like,
Yeah.
it hasn't looked great this whole season. And yeah, their recipe, 39 rushes, 25 passes. That should be our recipe. Whereas we had, 50 passes with Mason and 31 rushes?
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know how you pronounce that one guy's name. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah, he got injured, and so did the guy, I believe, underneath him.
Yeah, that Jamar Jefferson ran their first touchdown, which must have been their 28-yarder.
Yep.
Right down the middle. I mean, that was a dagger to the heart.
Yeah, got a hip injury, was out.
And then that dude that I don't know how to pronounce his name. Yeah,
Giga
I don't know how to pronounce his name. He had two carries for 56 yards, long of 42. I'm guessing that was the long one.
That was the one where I believe we couldn't tackle him, and he just ended up busting it off.
And then Swift, 33 carries for 130 and a 21-yard long. So, I mean, 21, 42, 28, all just giant chunk runs. And that's where we just I think it was, in the third quarter when they came out in their opening drive or something.
Is when we finally started stacking the box?
Maybe. I thought that was when they just kept daggering us with inside runs for 10 yards, 7, 8 yards.
Yes.
Nobody could tackle. And it was just so frustrating because, dude, where is our defense? And I think we were texting each other dude, what is up with our defense?
Because
now?
when they went down, scored the touchdown, and then missed the extra point.
Yeah, that must have been it.
16 to 10 at that point. And then afterwards, we were like, wait, they're running the ball. We should stack the defense.
Interesting.
Stack the box and make Goff need to do it. You know what happened? We got 4 sacks. We stopped the run. We did what we needed to do. It was a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tomlin and Butler, but you guys were morons. If you couldn't figure it out and we could figure it out pretty early on, there's something like it's not that hard to figure out.
They said about the Goff hip and back, and I was just like, they're going to lean on that run for, especially how tight the game was. And it was tied up. Yeah. It was like they're going to lean on that run for a majority of this game, if not all the game, if they can.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's hone in on that. And like you said, let's hone in on that and stop, like, worry about Goff. Like, make him one-dimensional. Like,
yeah,
he's not a very good quarterback.
No. Like, him and Mason are probably on the same level.
Yeah. Yeah, well, defense didn't do a good job stopping the run. I mean, they did what they did against the pass, but he didn't pass it that much, and I don't think that was ever really concerned for us. We did shut down Hawkinson, which we talked about in our preview. We talked about him being maybe the X factor. You said 0 receptions, right?
0 receptions, so only 1 target.
He was not a factor, which we thought he would be a factor, and we would stop Swift. We thought it would be the opposite, and here we are.
Yeah, it was something. Which, by the way, update, I don't know if he got any more. I'm assuming he didn't.
No boy.
TJ Watt is not the sack leader because Garrett got 1 sack today. And before Watt went out, he only had 1 sack. So Garrett's up to 13, where Watt's at 12.5.
Okay.
It does seem like we dodged a bullet with the Watt injury.
I was going to say, yeah.
And so we're thankful for that. But really, I mean, again, we're going to do LVPs, but the 2 stars to me was Highsmith and Schobert. I mean, they were the tackling machines.
Yeah.
But again, it was a lot of missed opportunities. Trey Norwood had a chance at a pick. He jumped in front of it correctly, bobbled it in his hands, ended up dropping it. Bush was an idiot and thought that he needed to hold Hawkinson when he didn't, and negated a Minka pick, which could have been the start of something, because we all know Minka is a... once he gets one, it just starts rolling.
Yeah. Streaky.
And stuff. And so it
Cam
was...
Sutton, too.
Sutton got injured.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he got injured.
Nice.
But yes, it went right out of his hands on that
should have
screen.
been pick. Yep.
Hayward had 2 sacks. Watt had a sack. Edmonds had a sack.
Yep.
That was a great sack by him.
Mm-hmm.
He timed that blitz up pretty good. Pierre, I thought Pierre played pretty well.
Yeah.
But it was just they weren't doing what they needed to do the whole game, and when they had the opportunities to help the offense out, they didn't help them at all. Mm-hmm. Sacks are great, but turnovers are key, and every time there was a turnover, it was just something else was happening.
Yep.
And it was a bummer.
Sure was. My LVP for this defense is going to be the defensive front unit. It's going to be front 7 for me. I mean, I don't really have one particular player I can point out.
I got one.
Okay. I just think just as a collective unit, we didn't do a good job of stopping the run, and I think that shows from 229 total yards rushing allowed. And all those gash runs, like I listed, 21, 42, 28 yarders by 3 different backs, not just by the one superstar back. And not like they have a superstar back, but it's not like they just have one superstar back that can do that to you. Three backs, and 2 of them are nobodies. I mean, it's just kind of disheartening. And in a game that we really need the defense to step up because of our quarterback situation, they didn't do it when it counted the most, I feel like. And I don't know. I would just say front 7 for me.
Yeah. Tackling was atrocious.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Horrible. I will go specifically Devin Bush. That hold killed us. It seemed like he was missing a lot of tackles. He didn't seem to be playing super physical today. It was one of those games where I honestly was like, I know he's got speed and he can run side to side. I would rather him leave and have Schobert and Spillane in, because they're bigger guys and they're more, I feel like they're more tackling guys. And not for the big play, because there was no passing, and Spillane, all we needed to hear was one big crack from him. Mm-hmm. And, I think it could have helped get into it. So I don't know. Bush has been underwhelming to me all year, and seems to be battling injuries off and on, to where me personally, I'm questioning whether he was worth the 10th overall pick. And so, to me, you're the 10th overall pick. You're supposed to be a difference maker. You proved that your rookie year until you got hurt, and now it just seems like you're slowly regressing, which is not what we want to see.
Nope. I would agree, though.
Special teams. Harvin can tackle.
Ray
Ray sucks.
I was going to say Ray had one scare, which I heard the one where they thought he touched it. Apparently, defense touched it on the end zone line, and it basically null and voided the ball at that point. So,
but I'm still sure that Ray did not think that.
No, I was thinking that too, and I was like, he probably doesn't know that rule, and that's why I'm still confused why he even went in for that ball.
Yeah.
There was like 2 or 3 people around there, and like, why did you think it was okay to try to grab it at the one?
Touched it, didn't grab it, and then it was horrible decision making.
Then what, late, was it overtime, or was it late in the fourth? It was one of the two.
Where he bobbled
it? When he had that bobble. I mean,
I think it was overtime.
That was close too. Not good.
No, he's regressing as well. Although he came out and played as a receiver today.
Yeah, he didn't do too shabby there. The Harvin tackle you mentioned, we let up that big punt return. That Harvin was the last ditch effort. I mean, if he didn't make that tackle, Khalif Raymond was gone.
Yeah, great on Harvin for doing that. But I mean, it was just play after play after play after play that it was just
and.
It seemed like anytime there was a kickoff or a punt or something like that, they were driving at 20, 30 yards before somebody was touching them.
Yeah. Hats off to Harvin, though, on that. I think it was on that specific return. He punted it like 68 yards.
He boomed
boomed that thing. So it's a heck of a punt, and you thought it would have pinned him deep, but good job to the returner and the return team, I guess. But bad job on our point.
Yeah.
The Killebrew. I want to bring that up, too.
Yes.
Flipping Killebrew.
Running into the kicker, which was...
Bumping into the kicker.
Yeah, a little ticky-tacky.
Yeah.
But technically that's the rule, so, if we're going to talk to other people about other, certain rules, whether we agree or don't, I don't agree that it was running into...
And he tried to avoid him I don't want to blame him as much as it's just one of those calls you can't agree with, but it is by the rule book, so...
Right.
But he tried to dodge it, but he just bumped him and...
It cost us.
Yeah.
That one, and then the back to our defense, the roughing the passer that
Norwood.
No, they called it on Alex Highsmith.
Oh, for real?
And he jumped over Goff.
Oh, wow.
Because I originally was like, okay, Norwood, he went low, that's fair.
Yeah.
But then the announcer said that they called it on 56, which was Highsmith, and I was like, Highsmith went out of his way to dodge him so he didn't kill the guy. And
that's
so
weird.
They may end up changing that, and if they go with Norwood, that's fine. That's understandable. But if they keep it on Highsmith for Highsmith touching him, that was a blown call.
Yeah. Bogus.
And so refs definitely dictated a little bit too. They've just been bad all year for every team, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
But yeah, so special teams just did not play good. Ray's definitely the LVP, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Boss hit 3 for 3. He had a 51-yard long, which is great.
He's been booming them in Heinz Field recently, which is great.
He's money, man. But yeah, I would agree. I just think those 2 scares by Ray totally unnecessary. That especially that one where he tried to go in there and try to grab that. I don't know what he was thinking there. And I just think he scares me now to return punts, mostly because of ball security, but he just hasn't been any flashy at all. And I'm just wondering if you see Khalif Raymond, who's really a nobody, and Ray's kind of a nobody too, but Khalif Raymond has great return. It's
time after time on punt and kickoff.
Yeah.
Time after time.
At what point do we get a difference maker as our returner?
Yeah, we don't do things like that, and we didn't give grades throughout for offense, defense, special teams. I'm just gonna do it as a team.
Can we just do an overall grade? Yeah.
Surprisingly not an F. I'm gonna do D-, just because they made our defense made improvements, and we had some small bright points, but overall the overall experience was very negative.
Yeah. I would say offensively, I know a lot of people hate Mason. I'm not his biggest supporter, but I will defend him a little bit in this situation. He didn't play horrible. He didn't play great. He missed some throws. He didn't play horrible, and especially with the notice that he got, to be with the first team. Defense didn't do their part really the whole game. They got 4 sacks, and we had more turnovers in this game, and that was the big difference maker to me. And I'll go D, I guess.
Oh, he's got to one-up me.
That's why I tell you this. You just got to give your grade first, so I know what to give. And two, my thing that I would just sum up the game is just to say in this game is we just literally shot ourselves in the foot. You look at all facets of this game, offense, defense, special teams, literally shot ourselves in the foot. And we gave all the examples of the Bush hole on the interception, the fumble by Freiermuth, fumble by Deontay. It was like whenever we thought our hopes were getting up or whenever we thought we made a good play, something would happen either on that same play to ruin it or the next play or that drive or whatever. It was just self-inflicted wounds.
Yep. And I said in our preview, I was not scared about the Lions beating us. I was scared about us beating us. And that is exactly what we did. We beat ourselves. Three fumbles total, 2 of them lost, a pick.
Yeah.
We had no turnovers. I mean, we beat ourselves, and we just got to live and learn. We straight up played down to our opponent. We play the Chargers next week, who's kind of reeling right now, but at the same time, I could see us going to the Chargers and playing a completely different ball game because they're at a completely different level than the Lions, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's frustrating. And I told people on Twitter I was going to rant about it if it happened, and it happened. It was a tie, which to me is a loss. We had 31 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and we kneeled it because we thought we could win it in overtime. Mason is known for his deep ball accuracy. He's not great with everything else, as we've seen. Short, medium throws, he's He can throw a wonderful, if he gets under it, and again, rainy conditions make things different, but if he actually gets a good throw, like a throw that he can do, he can throw a beautiful 40, 50-yard bomb.
Mm-hmm.
He throws a 40, 50-yard bomb. We have one timeout left, yet again, time management. Tell me if we've talked about that yet. All it was one defensive pass interference, one catch to get us into field goal range in the fourth quarter. We take the timeout because now we have it, and now we don't have to worry about Green doing something or Deontay doing something or Freiermuth, being a rookie. We can end it before it goes any further.
Yep.
And instead, we ended with a tie. So again, clock management and that is just down the drain because Lions had no timeouts left. What's the worst that can happen? If we throw it 50 yards downfield and it's picked off,
that's what I thought too.
Fine, it's picked off. Do you really think the way and the condition that Goff is in and the way our defense was finally stopping the run, that they're going to go down and score, or kick a field goal when their kicker couldn't even kick what? I don't know if he would have even been good from 45 from us. It didn't add up with how everything was playing out for them not to give that one chance. And so it was a little frustrating to see there.
Yeah, I was surprised they kind of laid down there too with 20, 30 seconds, whatever it was left. And like you said, if they just tried a deep shot and you don't connect, if it gets pass interference, then you got it down there. If it gets intercepted, then it's basically like a punt. And with the Lions at that point, I think had 0 timeouts, right? They were out of timeouts. They wouldn't have – there's no way that Goff would have driven them down the field in would it have been 15 or less than seconds, whatever at that point to tie it to take the victory. But I'm with you, dude. I was a little bit confused, frustrated why they just decided to lay down and let that clock just run down to 0. And just think that they could just take care of business in overtime. It was just weird. I don't know. Yeah, not like we haven't talked about time management before with the Steelers, though.
Typically, it's the second half, but it screwed us over here in the fourth and overtime. So
yeah, ugly game.
Very ugly. And even if we would have won, I would have been just as frustrated. Like if we would have somehow pulled it out in overtime and won 19-16,
still ugly.
Still very ugly. I would have still been very upset. And in all honesty, the Lions played better than us, and they deserved to win. And they played with a lot more heart, a lot more fire, a lot more character than us.
I was going to say, if I told you the 0-8 Lions were going to come to Heinz Field and play the Steelers, and didn't tell you the Steelers record, what would you think? I mean, the Steelers record was. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
After watching today, I would have been like, so they're a 1-7-1 team?
Yeah. Like they're a winless team as well. I mean, they're playing just their. Yeah, it is frustrating, man. It is frustrating.
Yeah. And in a passing league, only allowing a quarterback 114 yards passing, and you can't get the job done.
Yep. And in a week where the Browns lose and the Ravens lose, and you can take the division.
Yep.
Lay an egg.
Frustrating.
Yep, very frustrating. But
so hopefully we can rebound.
I sure hope so.
We'll see how it goes. We're still not sure yet if we're going to get Ben back or not. So
yeah,
we may be on the Mason train one more week.
Yeah, maybe one more week. And we're at Los Angeles.
Yep,
the Chargers.
We're on the West Coast. Wonderful.
Yeah, we never play very well over there. And after this matchup with the Lions, don't know. Like Shane said, you might go over there and just blow them out too. You don't know what you're getting with the Steelers. So
no.
They keep it interesting, and they always keep it a 2-point game, whatever, or a tie, whatever.
Give you a heart attack week in, week out. They keep doctors employed.
yeah. At least in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
All right, man. That's all I got. I don't want to keep talking about this team. They don't deserve our attention anymore.
No. No.
But
I'm over it. On to the Chargers.
On to the Chargers. That's right. Well, thanks for everybody joining in, listening to us, and let us know what you thought about this game or this tie. And
do you even want to say it?
Oh man, I got to, right?
Yes, we do.
Until next time, go Steelers.
Let's go Steelers.